cocktails.
Yay, my favorite part.
Using the bourbon that we just tried.
This is my favorite cocktail ever.
This is one that pretty much the only cocktail that I'll drink. I like this.
Sure.
It's not too sweet. Because that seems like if I drink a lot of sweet cocktails, I get bad headaches. So It's not super sweet. I feel that pretty much every bourbon that we use has shined through this drink.
It has.
So the better the bourbon, the better the cocktail, in my opinion. Send your hate mail straight to me for using a better bourbon to make. Everybody always says, oh, use some, $15 dirt cheap bourbon. Better bourbon will make a better cocktail. I promise you. Just try it.
It'll be amazing. Now, with that being said, too, touching again on my wine aficionado-ness, which is non-existent. For this particular one tonight, we're using the Cupcake Black Forest. This is a drier, dark red wine. We have also made this with a slightly sweeter red wine, and it's good. I love a good sweet red wine. I'm normally not even a fan of dry red wines. But what I like about this particular one with a deep oak flavored bourbon is the smokiness in this really complements this. And so you want something that complements and doesn't overpower. So again, getting away from it not being too sweet, your choice of red wine you'll see as he makes it. It's a very small amount that goes into it, but you're gonna taste it on your palate. So use a good red wine. Use a red wine that tastes good to you because you want it to complement your bourbon really well. So this is a very strong red wine, but I think it's great with your stronger, higher proof bourbons. It stands up well to it without competing.
True. So what you're gonna need, obviously you're gonna need a shaker.
Shake it, shaker.
I need the lid to that too, please. So the ingredients for this is lemon juice, a simple syrup. You can make your own or store-bought. It really doesn't matter either way. The red wine, bourbon of your choice. You're gonna need an egg. Yes, I said an egg. Ice, and a cup. It's fairly easy to make. If for some reason you do not like the red wine, you can leave it out. You could drink this without the red wine, and I forget what they call it. It's still got the frothiness of the egg on top. They call it something, I'm not 100% sure. Or you could even leave the egg out. Leave the egg out, leave the red wine out, then you pretty much got a bourbon sour.
Right. But don't do that. Try it this one time.
Yeah, try it this way.
Just one time for the one time. And egg white does magical things to your bourbon.
And when I first made this, she was kind of off-put by the egg white. And it does look disgusting going in this drink, but the froth that it makes on top, and then it mixes with the red wine, and then when you sip it, you get the red wine, the froth, the bourbon. It's really good. It's really good.
And my favorite thing for him to do, and it's not his favorite at all, so he very rarely does it. He's obviously not doing it for this demo. I love some orange zest in this. He doesn't like the orange. I love the orange zest.
It makes it too sweet. And if you like it real sweet, take your orange and
zest it. Just take the peel on the outside.
Just the peel. You can zest it and rub it around the rim, and then put it in the drink. You can cut a whole like an orange wedge and slice it, put it in there. Whatever you want to do.
It's so good.
I think it makes it too sweet for me.
I love it.
So therefore, I don't do it. So let's get started. So we're gonna take our Weller Antique 107, 2 ounces of bourbon. You could cut this down to 1 ounce. You could go up to 3 ounces, I guess, if you want, depending on how strong you want it. But 2 ounces is about right.
It's about perfect.
Where I like it. So we do 2 ounces of whatever bourbon you want.
So good.
And then we do 1 ounce of lemon juice. So that should give us 3 ounces in our cup total between the bourbon and the lemon juice. Then you want to do 3/4 of your simple syrup. A lot of people like to make their own simple syrup so they can make it as sweet as they want.
My mom loves to make her own simple syrup. She swears up and down that that's the better way to do it. I don't have time.
You could do a full ounce of this if you wanted to. I just do 3/4 because I think it makes it just a little bit less sweet.
I think the 3/4 is perfect.
That's what I like. Now on your egg, think you can buy just egg whites.
But we've never done it that way before.
But I don't want to do it that way because I want to do it old way.
You just never know.
You just never know. Never know what you're getting.
I have eaten egg whites. Like, I have made eggs with just plain egg whites, but I don't know. I'm not sure that the frothiness would be the same, and you want a really high viscosity frothiness.
I think they actually make a tool to where you can do these and it'll separate them, but
Who needs
I'm
that?
too cheap. So I'm doing it the old way.
We've had too much bourbon to buy an egg separator.
I do it with a, I don't know, it's a strainer spoon.
It's just a giant strainer spoon
thing
that I had in my drawer.
Anyway.
So we just double up on the teamwork here.
Yep, it
We
usually
make this
takes 2
work.
people.
If you use the egg separator, I don't know. Amazon sells some fancy ones. I saw them, but honestly, the functionality of it looked identical to what we're doing right now.
So what I do is I crack it and I kind of put my thumbs in it, kind of hold that yolk back, and I just get the
No eggshells,
good stuff out
no
of there.
egg yolks, just the white.
Sometimes you kind of gotta roll it around and get her
Finagle it a little bit.
to all drip off. There it goes right there.
You want a lot of good egg white. As much as you can get.
Just about there.
Even the snotty part.
Now, if you're making this for yourself or your significant other, you can finger all in it. But if you're making it for somebody else, you might want to find a better way to do
Fingering
this.
my cocktail.
So you're not putting your fingers all in what you're about to serve them.
Or just wear gloves.
Or wear gloves.
Wear gloves.
Fair enough.
Doesn't have to be fancy though. You just pour all that egg white in there.
Yep.
Get it all down in there.
And as far, if you could do a little
Healthy.
less egg white, or you could do all the egg white. I mean, it's totally up to you. You can experiment with this drink. I don't really think you can mess it up, to be honest with you.
But the frothiness, like you have to, I think to fully understand what's happening with the egg white, you have to try it. And once you try it with the full egg white, you're never going to want to do it differently because it makes your bourbon creamy. It's insane.
With all the ingredients in there, which was 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, and the egg white, I'm at like 5 3/4 ounces in the cup.
It's about perfect.
So that's about perfect. You want to put you a couple pieces of ice in there, and that's going to help mix. Plus, it's going to chill it,
It breaks up that egg white.
and it breaks up the egg white. Really
Gets
does.
it beat up in there.
All right. So what we're going to do? You're going to shake this up. You want to shake it pretty good because you want to get that egg to really.
You want it frothy. Imagine if you were beating the egg whites to make like a meringue, or you're making something and you want to make those stiff egg white peaks. You're kind of going for the same thing here. So you want to make sure you really shake it up good.
And you'll feel that top start to like frost over and get cold. That's when you know you got it chilled real good.
So yummy. You have no idea.
Okay. That should be good. And I like to take a couple pieces of ice in my cup. Even though it's cold, I still like a little jiggle in my cup.
Little jiggle in the cup. Do you see that consistency when that came out of there? We should have slow-moed that pour.
It honestly almost looks like eggnog.
It does.
It really does.
It does.
But I know you probably can't see it on the camera, but all this frost is going to float to the top, and then you'll see it. It's almost like the head of a beer, like when a foam on a beer.
It separates.
Do not rake it off like you would on the head of a beer. 'Cause
You
it's
want all of that.
Some of the best.
All of that.
Did we find my
part.
big spoon?
No, I thought you were just going to pour it with it.
Okay, I can just do it with this. Normally what I would do was I take a spoon and I kind of angle it over it and try to pour the wine over the top of it. And if you do it right, I don't know if you guys ever seen like a tequila sunrise, how it'll have the red ring around it to where it just stays on the top. That's kind of what you want to do with this. Sometimes it'll go a whole lot deeper and go down to the bottom. It really doesn't matter. It's going to taste good all the same.
It's just for looks.
Just for looks.
Just fanciness.
Really all it is.
He loves making fancy looking
As far
cocktails.
as measuring, I never measure. I think if you actually look up recipes for this, it calls for like a ½ ounce. But I do it my grandma's way, which is just throw it in there and see. And I've never messed
Trial
it
and
up.
error.
I've never messed it up yet.
Sometimes I ask for a little extra wine on the top, but it's so pretty. Oh, see the way, oh look, it's doing it perfect because he's pouring it over the top of the ice cube, so you can see all of the wine has stayed right at the top.
I'll give them a close up here. See if
It's
I can do it without
beautiful.
messing it up.
It's perfect. Look at that.
You can see that.
Ah,
You got,
That's
of course,
so
your whole
beautiful.
mixtures in the bottom, then it comes up. Then you got your red wine sitting on the second layer, and then that's your egg froth on the top.
That's amazing.
And it is Good. I'll let you do the honors.
So good. This is my favorite.
See if you can taste the bourbon in it.
Oh yeah.
Do you
still taste the bourbon?
Which it's going to knock your smell out. You're not going to be able to smell this
No.
and do a smell test. But
No.
do you? What was your when you did just the neat? Your smells, or excuse me, your taste. Are you getting that same taste, or is it diluted in the cocktail?
Here's the thing. It's not diluted. I don't want to use the word diluted. What I think that I am able to do with the cocktail is to truly taste that bourbon without it setting my face on fire. I'm not distracted by the burn. I'm not distracted by the hug. I can taste. That still tastes like oak barrel to me.
It's good. It's good.
It's so good. But I can truly enjoy the actual flavor profile of that bourbon. That's what we're saying. Making a cocktail with it, that doesn't mean that you're covering up the taste of your bourbon. A good quality bourbon, its flavor profile is still going to shine through in something like this.
I agree.
This one tastes totally different than if we were to make this with one of our lesser expensive, still amazing bourbons. But for example, we make this a lot with Larceny because we love Larceny.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from Larceny. Honestly, one of my top 10 favorite bourbons of all time.
We'll do an episode
love
on
it.
Larceny because it is one of our favorites.
I love it.
And in my opinion, hands down, Larceny makes some of the best cocktail bourbon.
Best. And honestly, I think for under $25, I don't think you'll find a better bourbon.
No.
Larceny is number one for sure.
Especially if you get the higher proof.
It's
really
fantastic. But if you were to make this with Larceny, not to take anything away from that amazing bourbon, flavor profile is going to be totally different. You still get that deep, you still get a little hug, but now it's down here in my throat where I wanted it to be in the first, I wanted it in my throat.
And you see,
time.
even though we've been drinking on it, your line's still there.
Still perfect.
So like when you're
Still
drinking
beautiful.
that, you know, you're getting the froth off the top, you're getting a little bit of red wine, and then you've got your bourbon mix coming up in
Yes.
under it.
And
so you get a
because-
lot of flavors at once.
So much. And because this is not a super sweet red wine, this is not a super sweet cocktail. It really isn't.
It's really not.
It's very, if you are, it would be more in your semi-sweet. So this is not a super sweet, it's not a real dry, this is more of a semi-sweet cocktail. So I think you would still find this appealing to a palate that doesn't like super fruity. This is not a pina colada, this is not a tequila sunrise, this is not a Hawaiian punch. This is still a very strong bourbon cocktail. We are still paying respects to the quality that Weller is. We're just giving you a different way to drink it because not everybody can drink bourbon neat all the time. It's not something that I could do all the time.
Sometimes I don't want to. Like
Yeah,
I love.
sometimes you just don't want to.
You
want to do differently.
I'd say 95% of the time I'm drinking my bourbon neat. And sometimes I'm just like, I want something different. And this is my go-to. So any guys out there that's worried about dropping your man card, try this drink.
It's so good.
It's not fruity. It's not super sweet. And
It's not a Band-Aid or a cover-up.
You will get the bourbon flavor.
You
It
will
shine
still, yeah.
through.